We can't possibly cover everything in the Sermon on the Mount, but I'll tell you what we have to do in these sessions is we have to start with the preamble. And the preamble of the Sermon on the Mount is the Beatitudes. It's part of it, it's important, it's the beginning, and it sets everything up. And if you miss that, this is going to be kind of a broad strokes message. If you miss the preamble and understanding what it's about, then you really miss the rest of the sermon. So we're going to jump into this. We're in Matthew chapter 5, verse 1. And seeing the multitudes, he went up on a mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples came to him. Then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So I want you to look at this picture for a moment. Jesus' star has been rising. He's been out there several months. We don't know exactly how long. He's now got huge crowds and huge multitudes. I mean, he's on a roll. But Jesus had a bit of a habit of crashing his own party. You say, what are you talking about? I'm talking about what he just did here. He actually lures people in with cake and ice cream, and then he serves them broccoli and cauliflower. You say, what are you talking about? Well, the miracles and the healings and all that stuff. That was the cake and ice cream. That got people in, and that's why the crowds came. But then he gave them what they really needed, which was broccoli and cauliflower, and that's what the Sermon on the Mount is. I mean, you look at this stuff. Did you see the stuff he just said here? This is what he tells them. He says, blessed are the poor in spirit, and blessed are the mournful, and blessed are the meek, and he goes on and on. I mean, come on, Jesus, where's the good stuff? Where's the good stuff? And he just sort of lays it out there. There's almost nothing sort of that appeals to your fleshly desires in this, because that is not the essence of it. Now, if I was going to give one quick description of the Sermon on the Mount, this is what I would say about it. It is instructions in the counterintuitive principles of the kingdom of God that will transform your life to live a life less ordinary, to live a life that is completely beyond what our world can and does live. And every one of these principles is upside down. Every one of these principles is inside out. Almost every one of these principles is opposite to our human nature and how we would act and how we'd respond in a certain circumstances. I mean, think about what he tells us. It's all upside down. He says, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. He says, the least shall be the greatest, and the greatest shall be least. He says, less is more, and more is less. He says to love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. He tells us to go the extra mile, to give to everybody that asks. He tells us it's good when we're persecuted, it's bad when we're praised, and he commands us to forgive everybody all the time. Every single thing I just said there is completely, utterly, totally contrary to human nature. What you would normally do in a particular situation, that, my friends, is the Sermon on the Mount.